What's up, everybody? This is Jason back with Campbell's Music Rig Review, episode 58.
Right on.
58 of these things.
Wow.
So, and we talked early on about having this guy on, and we finally settled on a date, and he's been busy putting his rig together. And as you can see, and as we go through, is one of the most expensive drum rigs that I've seen. And, we had a guitar rig of similar ilk. This, but we've never had the drums like this, so it's going to be interesting because he likes to make a lot of noises with a lot of different toys.
Yeah.
And Andrew Gibbons of the band Charlie Maples, and we'll discuss who is Charlie Maples,
Yes.
or what is Charlie Maples,
All right.
or whatever, and formerly of This Mountain, and if y'all been around Johnson City, you've probably seen him a time or two playing around, so we're going to link all your info, Charlie Maples and all that stuff, and where you're playing and what you're doing.
Excellent.
And, we'll link all that up later and talk about them. But right now, we'll just dive into this
All right.
massive drum percussion.
You can see it. You see where do we want to start?
Let's start with just the shell kit and the snare and stuff,
Yeah.
and then we'll go off from there,
Cool.
I guess.
So I just brought a small bit of a bigger piece kit that I've had since early summer 2006. It's a fatty drum kit, custom made. Dennis, rest in peace. This was the first custom kit he had made for when he had partnered with R.A. Colby back in those days, and he'd put out a few different things, just kind of testing his new equipment, but then got to this thing. It was originally a 5-piece kit, and the kick was actually made originally as an 18-inch tom, but I just realized I wasn't going to use that as a tom, and had him convert it into a kick for me.
Yeah.
I still have the 20-inch kick that I'll bust out every once in a while, but I've just grown to like the smaller kit.
A little bit more punchy and
Yeah, it's punchy, but I can tone it, and it can have quite the thump to it. This and it's a 13-inch rack tom. There's also a 16-inch tom that I did not bring, and then I have also the snare, but I've not really used that for many years. But this tom, it's got a lot of good sound out of it. I've had a few sound engineers over the years. If they've made a comment on any particular drum, it's been this 13-inch rack tom.
Yeah.
Something about it. The snare I'm using, I got from y'all here at Campbell's. It's a Ludwig acrolite, kind of a thicker, deeper
than 6.5, isn't it? It's like a 8 or
yeah,
something?
I think so. And the current thing that I've been doing with it is I'll have like a towel on it, and I'm not tuning the head all that much as I used to. When we did the recording about not quite a year and a half ago for Charlie Maples, Travis Kmeyer said it just sounded like it needed to sound, and so I've just kind of left it there,
Yeah.
messed with it here and there, but it's got a bit of it's just not, but I can also get a pretty tight sound out of it, but it's just got a nice nice tone to it that
Yeah.
I've been
And I
just
always
going
find,
with.
yeah, those acrolites, I mean, probably the one most recorded snares
Yeah.
in history, as far as I know.
It's very versatile, which I think is why I got it. And it's also not super expensive, so it's nice.
And we already
nice
dropped
snare.
Travis Kmeyer's name again.
Yeah.
We've dropped his name in a lot of these rig reviews. So,
Yeah.
and he's finally agreed to do one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get him in here, and
Awesome.
y'all get to see the face to the name. So
There you are, Travis. Yeah,
one
Travis.
of the greatest engineers around,
Well, yeah,
and
and
musicians.
exactly. I've been known Travis. First he was quite intimidating to me, I'll be honest, and then got to know him, and he's a great dude. Yeah, I remember when he got started with recording, and I heard that 24-hour front desk record that he did with Tim Smith back in the day. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me a little bit about it. I was in a band at those days called The Crossing, and we 24-hour front desk and The Crossing did a few shows together. I think back in the Gatsby's days. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So good times. He's recorded a lot of the work that I've done or been a part of it in some form or fashion.
Awesome.
So, yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
those are the drums. Right now, I do change my cymbals a good bit, but the ride I've been using for a number of years now is this 22-inch Peisty Dark Energy ride. It's got a lot of tones you can get out of it. I have found too that it's really nice to put the microphone right on the edge, and it gets some. I mean, there's a reason it's called Dark Energy. I'm not trying to bring out any darkness in the world, but there was something about the tone of this cymbal that drew me in. I mean, I think Switzerland is occupied by wizards, so who knows what's going on. But right now up in the crash position, I actually have this 20-inch. It's a 1960s Zildjian. I got it off of a friend a year and a half ago or so. He was just clearing out some gear, and it's just a nice classic sounding cymbal.
Yeah.
And then my hats that I've been using probably since 2005 now, I think. I've had them for a number of years. They're looking pretty crusty, but it's a 13-inch dark crisp rides from Peisty, the signature series, and my parents were living in Fort Wayne at the time I picked these up, Indiana, and they were on just a heavy discount at some random music store, and picked them up. I had learned that Stuart Copeland for a while was using 13-inch hats, and I was listening to a lot of the Police at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys in the Crossing were into that, so I just picked those up. But I do actually like to, these days, sometimes I use this 20-inch as the top of a hi-hat with this 20-inch giant beat thin on the bottom. It's just has a really interesting sound. So we could try that out later maybe. But
20-inch hi-hats.
20-inch hi-hats. I mean, the idea didn't sound absurd to me. I'd heard some people, recording with like 18-inch. It's actually like a combo of the Peisty giant beat, that on the bottom and the regular size on top, or the regular thickness. So I was like, yeah, I've got two 20-inch cymbals. Let's see what happens.
And the other auxiliary cymbal we got back here
is I've got another set of hats. These are just my brother-in-law, Josh, also a percussionist. He, on his drum kit in his basement, had these, just these, crappy chin doll, I just call them trash hats. But for sometimes when you just kind of want that crunchy, almost, I don't know, I do have a history of playing some hip hop.
Yeah.
And it just kind of has that sort of sampled hat sound.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to feature that on Charlie Maples. I think I used it on my first Lyberarchelulo album as well for one song. The one song that had drums on that, the first one. But yeah, they're just, they've got a nice, interesting sound to them. So
nice to have 3 different options for.
Yeah, I found another trash hats, and I just traded. I liked the sound of those a little bit better than those, and just traded them to my brother-in-law. So yeah.
And we'll get a picture of this later, but we talked about your beater for your bass drum.
Oh yeah.
You was telling me about it earlier, and it's like a dryer ball or something.
Yeah. So just well, it has to do with this drum that's sitting up in front. It's a Dune drum that was. I can tell a story of that later, but just a regular beater does not sound good on that. I want to have that as an option periodically for a kick if the right setting comes up, or anyway, just want to. So I did discover that these wool dryer balls, if you just dropped it on that drum, it sounded real nice. I was like, all right, I'll figure out how to rig that up. So I recently came in and just got a replacement beater from here. Got one that would be able to screw on and screw off, and I just drilled a hole through the wool and stuck it through there and made sure it got it tight, and it just has this nice warm sound to it, even for this kick. But yeah,
that's cool.
What that's about.
I think give us a little taste of what just the shell and the cymbals you got, and then we'll get to the auxiliary stuff.
Yeah. So
yeah.
got a few different.
Tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check out Charlie Maples in this. I guess jazz fusion kind of.
Yeah, we jazz R&B.
R&B,
We'll
yeah.
somewhere in there. I mean,
As you can tell by some of this playing, that's kind of what the feel is.
yeah, we've got I don't know. Someone did a little write-up recently, said jazz with pop sensibilities, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine. I've run the gamut of the types of bands I've been in. So yeah.
Well, me and Jason's ran sound for y'all that one about last year, I guess it was, and then it's the first time I heard you live. Yeah, Art Struck Festival, and if you get a chance to check them live, definitely do that. And
yeah, so is today actually May 8th or 9th?
8th, I think.
So
Yeah,
Episode 58 on 58.
yeah.
So there we go. Anyway, yeah, so we are playing in Johnson City on June 13th at the Winged Deer. There's a Thursday night concert series there.
Down at the amphitheater.
Yeah, a little amphitheater by the man-made lake.
So
Yeah, that'll be fun.
we get to run our own sound.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's great. It's a great spot. It's beautiful down there. But,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Play that disc golf course all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's jump into the fun stuff now.
All right.
And wherever you want to start. And
Cool. Well, I guess we'll start chronologically.
all right.
So that means we'll start with the train chimes. A few years ago, I just kind of started to happen upon these fasteners, nails and screws that were from no longer being used on the railroads, and I just picked them up. I knocked them around a little bit, so that's something. There's something there, but then I didn't. They were just sitting around for a while, and then I realized that they were there, and I thought I'd just pick them up and hang them and see what happened, and they just ring out real nice. It was not what I was expecting. I didn't know what to expect, and so eventually I rigged up on the dogwood tree in my backyard a bunch, like an array of these things, and that's how I started the first album for my little percussion ambient project called Lyberarchelulo, and I didn't have the name yet. I just decided to, do a recording. So it's got the birds in there too on that initial recording. Just let it ring out, just would push them periodically because the wind's not going to push these.
Yeah.
So they're not chimes in that sense. The railroad thing too for me was slightly personal. With my mom's dad was he was a man on working the railroad back in Nebraska. So a little bit of that sound means something to me.
Yeah.
But so that's that's the sound when they're hanging, and I generally am bringing this little rig to all my shows now. Like I use it in Charlie Maples and Lyberarchelulo, and just you push them there, and they pair nicely with those as well. But then you can also I picked up these brass mallets from here. I had a special order because they weren't in stock at the time, but I wanted to see what they would sound like on these, and so that you can. There's a whole bunch of different. You'll see this later, but there's a bunch of different sounds you can get from these old steel and iron pieces. So it can get a little weird, but
no, that's cool.
I just like it. It's so yeah. Just been messing around with these and just
Who knew?
Yeah. I didn't until I tried something.
Yeah.
So.
No, and those chimes actually are pleasant sounding. So.
Oh yeah, they're very, very pleasant. And then you can, I mean, it can be a bit abrasive. Some of them, there's just a lot of interesting tones. I mean, you could probably do some weird stuff with this.
Yeah.
And, I do eventually want to get some ways of looping them, or just get a little bit of that going on.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Very DIY, very cool. Very
Fun
cool
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then see, and the other DIYs like You just cut down some trees.
Yeah. So there is a percussionist that I appreciate a good bit, Billy Martin, and I do follow him on the Instagram, and he has this whole hashtag bamboo is my teacher, and he's cutting down bamboo. He's got a whole little thing in his yard, so he's always making cuttings and making instruments. And I learned from my brother-in-law lives in the same neighborhood as my wife and I, and he mentioned that there was a bunch of bamboo. I think they also will call it river cane around here, but it's there was a significant amount of it out in this part in our neighborhood that they can't develop, and I think someone had put it up for privacy at some point, and it's just gone everywhere.
Oh yeah, it just spreads like
it just spread like crazy, and there's some thick ones. There's some that have been grown for years, and really new ones too. So I just took to I went and cut some down and just to see what would happen, and I liked the sound of it. I growing up, I played a lot of vibraphone in like the jazz bands in middle school and high school. So that's been my primary experience with mallet instruments, and then took many year break. But after cutting these, I just realized that was something I could play the mallet stuff on, and I've been still working on how to best work with some ways of modifying the sound. Right now, I'm playing it through this acoustic chorus Roland amp, and just to give it some verb and a little bit of atmospheric space.
Yeah.
But I have some intentions of adding some probably like voice modulation pedals because I'm running it through a microphone.
Oh yeah.
I've got a few options, but that's the one I think I'm going to go with, and might have some looping capabilities.
Yeah.
So just do some interesting things there. But yeah, it's just so it kind of, I could probably, if I wanted to go crazy, I could figure out a way to put together a whole scale, but I'm finding that a lot of the times, like one stalk of the bamboo, there's going to be, I don't know, when you cut it, there ends up being like a bunch of half steps.
I got you.
And there's a lot of other tonal qualities. But with so this is the little array that I put together for our Charlie Maple set this past weekend at the Down Home, and I was going to use it today, of course.
Yeah.
And I've got a Lyberarchelulo gig next weekend that I'll give it a go. But then it'll probably be a completely different set the next time if you were to catch me with these. So.
Yeah, just basically capture about any kind of tones and sounds that you want with all this going on, like some like, Eastern Indian to like Japanese style sounding feels, and I mean anything you want really, but it's very cool sounding.
Yeah.
And like when you're playing these auxiliary percussions, is it along with playing the kit as well, or are you doing all of it at the same time?
I'm still working my way into that. I did do that. I have done that a couple times. I did originally also make a stand for the bamboo, so like a really rudimentary bamboo marimba is kind of what I thought of it as. It was just a prototype, if you will. So it's kind of falling apart a little bit. I could probably bust it out and tape it up and look real janky, but
yeah.
I was just messing around. I have a few ideas of how to do that, like some other options. But yes, I actually have kind of found a way to go about playing multiple things. Like the nice thing about for the train chimes, for instance, is the whole way I play them is I just let it happen.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily, when these are going, trying to get them to go in any sort of special rhythm. And then I have found that I can kind of play left hand with the bamboo, and you can do I could do it more of like a beat.
Yeah.
It's not It's more for the atmospheric sounds.
Just something like that.
That's cool.
And that's kind of what I'll be doing next weekend with the Lyberarchelulo stuff. So,
And did you use most of this stuff on the Charlie Maples record as well, or a lot of it?
Yeah, no bamboo on the Charlie Maples record. I also have this little Kentucky-made tongue drum, not on the record, but it is on the most recent Lyberarchelulo album.
Right.
Picked that up in Berea, Kentucky. There are some train chimes. There's a couple like kind of dreamy sounding sequences on some of the songs, and so those get thrown in there. And a number of other auxiliary things.
Just a nice like ambient background thing when the things kind of slow down a little bit. And yeah,
That's the whole idea. Is
Yeah.
just to, just because I've never really done this much auxiliary stuff. Let's see, back in the day, I was in this band, Listener. It was a hip hop act, and we were on tour, and we had a show get canceled in, it was Tallahassee, Florida. So the people that were supposed to put the show on, they put us up. It was called Tour of Homes. We like played in people's. There's a lot of house shows, but anyway, we set up in their space and did a little bit of recording on one of his, like just a different version of one of the songs that we were touring on. He made an album about a concept album about a traveling knife salesman. And so there is a song it's kind of like I think the penultimate song. Some funny stuff is happening in it, but we took some of the knives from the kitchen. We're doing some recordings of that. I eventually did that with this mountain as well. So I've done some like weirder auxiliary stuff, but not a whole lot over the years. And with my little side project, I was like, all right, I just start doing it all, whatever. Because the whole thing is improvised. I was just more like playing with the space, and part of my space is a bunch of little percussion things I've picked up over the years, and so. Just making all use of that, using wine glasses and things of that nature.
I can see you just going around your house and outside, just hitting things and like seeing what it sounds like. Just,
yeah. And I'm sure my mom would say that I've always done that. Even before I was officially a drummer. So
that was a very cool use of all this, and like I'm thinking about getting some of these, just hanging my tree outside. So
they're easy to come by, man.
Yeah.
And then just push them when you feel like feeling nice.
Yeah. And the chimes underneath your crash there.
They're just a set of Meinl chimes.
Okay.
Nothing. I think I picked these up. Oh man, I think it was a drum shop in Nashville. Picked those up, and they're just simple. I don't know what exactly that style is, but it's just a nice little touch here and there.
Yep. So you just get.
I do have a little goodie bag of other auxiliary.
Stuff you can pull out of the bag.
Yeah, let's get some more strange sounds. So, just your standard shakers. But this was an old, like one of those winter wreaths that people like, probably just from some craft store or something.
Yeah.
But I just turned it into a little figure 8, and now it's just a nice little bells. This is a rattle from Boone's Creek, a gourd rattle. Just made it here locally. It did snap. It was a longer stick here, but I think it's got a nice tone to it. I put that underneath some things here and there.
Yeah.
And my wife picked this up for me. It's can't remember exactly the name of it, but it's a wood block it's like a Buddhist monastery wood block, but it's a nice. It doesn't like pierce too much.
Right. Yes.
It's got a relatively warm tone for it, and so this ends up featuring a lot in like the album I'm about to put out. I just kind of because I intentionally don't really for that project use a click, but just to kind of mess with myself, I did some tracking of this like sort of as a click, and
Yeah.
it features in low, but it's a nice tone.
Yeah.
So I keep that around. Speaking of found objects, I picked this up when back in a few years ago when the Skillville was trying to clear everything out. There's just a piece of metal laying around, and turned out that it has a number of nice little tones.
Like a little mini gong or something.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, a mini gong to me. But you can also like, I don't really have much of a space, but you can lay it down and still like
Get some tone out
get
of it.
some tone on it. So that's been a fun. I've been able to feature that here and there. And then I like these little Timsha bells. Those are just nice little. Periodically throw those in. Another little set of bells that I have taken recently I'll actually just keep them in my left hand, like my snare hand.
Yeah.
And it's just, can add a little bit of tone underneath.
Yeah.
For some of the songs, some stuff. So I'll be using that way. My mom had found these for me. It's some goat hoof cha-chas. Real nice. I mean, to me, it's like almost like a watery sound. If you can play it in a few different ways. So I like to keep these around, and similarly, I'll use those. Look at those bells. There's another. I think I picked these up from Campbell's. They got cool little dragons on them. So which a note like my side project, Lyberarchelulo, means dragonfly with a bend in the middle. It's a word I've made up, but it's based on like the Latin word for dragonfly, and
All right.
and so the dragon works there. And then let's see, a couple more things. I think these are octaves, but this is my mom passed this on to me back in the day. I think her mom had it. It's actually like a little bell for in a church that they like before the gospel reading. If you look at it, there's it's got Lucas, Johann, Matthias, and Marcus. So the four gospels. So it's like they would ring it before the reading.
Okay.
I do have a master's of divinity, so I've got a little bit of a background of that kind of stuff. But anyway, and then this was just another random bell, but I think they're octaves.
Sounds like, yeah.
That's just a nice little tone every once in a while to throw in, and then just the last thing is just the standard soft shaker. You can the perfect thing for underneath
Almost
anything.
every track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely break it up, but this features a lot. This has been on this particular set's been on this Mountain Records, Amythyst Kiah's our EP that we did back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been around a while.
Charlie Maples. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Charlie Maples, and like we'll throw the link up for y'all's website and music, and
Sweet.
anytime y'all get the chance to go see them, it's worth going seeing.
Yeah.
I promise you that. They're, great. Just a great all-around band with, your wife singing, and Isaac
Ratliff on the keys, and
Taylor
Green, who I've played with for
a long time,
many years now.
On the bass.
Yeah.
And
then we get to have James West with us on guitar sometimes.
Yeah.
That's been nice.
y'all had a few featured guests at the Down Home, I think.
We did. James West and Motto played some trombone for us, filled in, and kind of last minute. That was awesome. And Maddie Foster with some backing vocals.
Yeah.
And Motto won't be with us because the song doesn't have horn, at least not yet. It's still a new song, but we're going to be playing the TEDx Johnson City at the Martin Center next month. And so we'll have Maddie with us for that. It's a new song, the new little R&B ditty.
Yeah.
And James will be with us, so that'll be fun. I think James will be with us. Anyway, we're gonna make some things.
Well, if not, we'll just James, you're with them that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess last but not least, if we want to talk about this drum out front.
Sure. Yeah, it's a cool drum I came across early on in our relationship. My wife took me out to this place in North Carolina. It was just an Airbnb.
Yeah.
It was a German woman, and she was married to an American guy, and they're originally from out west, but they had found this property and turned it in a pretty interesting place. We like slept in a tree house. So anyway, interesting property, but you could walk around it, and we came across this building that had this drum just hanging out in there, and so asked about it and ended up going home with it. The interest, I wish I knew the gentleman's name. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. It'll probably come to me. Henry, I believe, is his first name. He was the reason they were in North Carolina to begin with was he was one of the primary set designers for the Hunger Games movies.
Okay.
And so he also was just a woodworker and made drums. And so this is a drum that he made, and pretty sure it's deerskin on the heads, but it's just got a nice. It's a dune is what he styled it after. And I like to play them with these mallets, but you get some cool tones. I mean, I've played it like by hand. You can get all sorts of sounds out of it. So
yeah, the mounts are very cool too.
Yeah, I have done a few, like I did a thing with a yoga session, I don't know, a few months back, and I had that as to like just kind of a steady little beat. And I was using my sister-in-law has a set of like those crystal bowls.
Yeah.
And so I was messing around with those, and periodically the bamboo. So I've got some other setup options too that I've been working on. So fun stuff.
That's awesome. And y'all thought drums were boring. Well, some people do. I don't. But no, this is awesome setup and lots of good uses out of just everyday products.
Yeah.
You know, just stuff you find in the yard or whatever even. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, that's that. I'd encourage anyone to like make yourself a little train chime set.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and it's really easy to cut down bamboo and just get some mallets and you have yourself an instrument. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah. Don't cost a lot to play something, I guess.
No, it doesn't. I mean, those mallets they can come up a little bit. But yeah, if you hear this or see this before next week, May 18th at the Holler House down in Bristol, they're doing their first ever little mini music festival called Sound Bites, and I will be using all this stuff as Lyberarchelulo. I'll be also in that set collaborating with Maggie Leeds.
Okay.
She does some really interesting ambient stuff, and we connected actually at Holler House when that was the first place I did a gig under this auspice, and I ended up meeting her like at one that she was doing, and we've just been sending some sounds back and forth.
Yeah.
Slowly working on a little EP.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Charlie Maples again at the Martin Center for the TED Talk thing.
Yep.
And
Winged Deer Park on June 13th.
Y'all check those out, and that Winged Deer thing I'm sure is a free event, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
as far as you just show up and
local taxes, but yes, it's free otherwise.
Yeah. But Andrew's been shopping here longer than I've been working here.
Yeah, I mean, probably started coming in here as early as 2003 is my guess.
So we definitely appreciate you, and this is just our way to giving back to the community and showing local artists and local bands and trying to push their name out there in front of people.
We all appreciate what y'all do. So
yeah,
it's good to work with people.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Andrew Gibbons.
Thanks.
Charlie Maples.
Lyberarchelulo.
Yeah. Well, he said. I can't say that word. Go check it. They got a brand new album just out. What he said was recorded by Travis Kmart across the street.
Yeah.
And he's all right.
Yeah.
He's just all right.
I did a little bit of the recording too.
Okay.
He got us. He got the main the main drum sound and like the band.
Yeah.
We all recorded live the band, and
Yeah.
then I added all the little bells and whistles. Even y'all were gracious enough to let me borrow a set of congas, and those get featured
Okay.
on that. So I hadn't played those since jazz band back in the day. So that was fun. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Man, thanks for doing this. Thanks
Thank
for hanging
you.
out with us and doing it. And y'all go check out Charlie Maples and his.
Lyberarchelulo.
Yeah.
Like Bieber, I realize, unfortunately, it rhymes with Bieber.
That's a nice thing.
So that's a way.
Lieber.
Yeah. Lyberarchelulo. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Man. All right.